Good morning. Rob Bonta, California Attorney General, and thank you for being here today. If you search the country far and wide, you'd be hard-pressed to find a team of skilled law enforcement officers outperforming those serving right here in the California Department of Justice within our Division of Law Enforcement. And I'm honored to be joined by some of them today, including here to my right, John Marsh, Chief of the Division of Law Enforcement, Luis Lopez, Director, Bureau of Firearms, and Blake Graham, Assistant Director, Bureau of Firearms. I want to thank these public servants and all the special agents and support staff who make our APPS program possible, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Every day, more than 50 Department of Justice agents wake up, put on a uniform and a badge, and put their lives in harm's way as they seize illegally possessed firearms in every edge of our state. The people of California will never know their names. They won't know the long hours that they put in to do this work, but their lives will be improved. Their neighborhoods will be safer because of that important work and because of these public servants. California's Armed and Prohibited Persons System, or APPS, is a critical tool that makes this work possible as we crack down on illegal gun ownership. Our APPS enforcement team, in partnership with local law enforcement, use the system to cross-reference firearm owners against criminal history records, as well as mental health records and restraining orders so that we can prevent those individuals from owning and possessing guns. On a typical day, agents begin their shifts by reviewing a packet of roughly 10 to 20 cases and go over the operations plan for each case. They then head out into the field. They knock on doors of violent felons and dangerous individuals, not knowing what's on the other side of that door. Not every door is fruitful. Sometimes someone isn't home. Sometimes someone moved. Sometimes someone isn't forthcoming. Or sometimes someone feels like putting our team on a wild goose chase. But our agents, in the face of all of that, they persist. Day by day, house by house, case by case, they address address by address, lead by lead. They get deadly illegal firearms out of our communities, including these right here in front of me and to my left. This is tedious, labor-intensive work. I saw it firsthand, but it is vitally important, and to say I'm proud and impressed and thankful for our agents is a significant understatement. This is work of exemplary dedication, commitment. It's a grind, but every house that they knock on, every door that they interact with, every person that they connect with is one step closer to getting a illegal gun off our streets and making our communities safer. We are the first and the only state in the nation to establish a system like this and to lead this work. That is what we do in California, and we're doing it here. Today's announcement, yet again, proves the value and the worth of this first and unique in the nation program. So today, I'm proud to release the 2021 APPS annual report and highlight how our enforcement efforts are making communities safer. In 2021, our APPS enforcement staff made nearly 21,000 contacts. Those are human-to-human, agent-to-individual, face-to-face contacts, 21,000 of them. They removed more than 8,900 individuals from the APPS list. We seized almost 1,500 firearms, including 602 guns that were previously unknown to us, 39 ghost guns, 28 assault weapons, and 5 machine guns. And we removed 329,826 rounds of ammunition off our street. We did all this amid the backdrop of a pandemic and historic wildfires that interrupted our ground operations and forced us to limit in-person contacts during the first half of the year while dealing with staff vacancies that continue to be difficult to fill. So the level of difficulty was very high in this past year, yet we continue to do this important work and achieve great outcomes. Those challenges and others, they didn't stop us. Committed to public safety, our agents pivoted to innovative tactics to increase productivity. For example, by conducting regional large-scale sweeps in collaboration with local law enforcement agencies and utilizing data from recent ammunition background checks to identify and then disarm prohibited individuals, because if you're trying to buy bullets, that likely means you still have a gun. And with the lifting of pandemic-related restrictions in mid-June 2021, I'm glad to report that monthly productivity returned to pre-pandemic levels. So we were out of the pandemic chute with a lot of speed and a lot of action and activity moving very quickly. Today's announcement is a public safety success story. Despite real challenges in the field and real tolls on our agents, we seized 15% more firearms than last year, and we made 31% more contacts. DOJ's Bureau of Firearms is roaring back, keeping Californians safe. These results can't come at a more critical moment for California. In 2020, gun deaths accounted for 91% of the rise in murder rates in our state. The rifles, ghost guns, automatic weapons, and handguns right here are just a tiny fraction of the guns we've now taken off our streets. Each of these firearms had the power to kill. We'll never know what crimes our enforcement prevented. We won't know if we stopped an estranged husband from harming his ex-wife, a mentally unstable person from killing a complete stranger, or even the next school shooting or mass shooting. But we do know, having these deadly weapons out of our communities, it makes us all safer. In addition to our everyday efforts, this year we also prioritized removing firearms from individuals with gun violence restraining orders, GVROs, and domestic violence restraining orders, or DVROs. Court orders which prohibit an individual from possessing firearms if law enforcement, a partner, family member, coworker, or employer believes that person to be a danger to themselves or to others. Law enforcement agencies are increasingly using these red flag laws as they recognize the positive impact on public safety. At DOJ, we applaud and we encourage these efforts. Public safety is a team effort. Today's results wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for our law enforcement partners, especially those at the local level. So let me say a big thank you to them. During this app season, we worked collaboratively with 24 different law enforcement agencies in California, especially during our 4 regional large-scale sweeps in the Central Valley, in Sacramento, the Inland Empire, and San Diego. Thank you to all the men and women in law enforcement who joined us in the field. You made California safer. We appreciate the partnership and the collaboration. This collaboration, it must continue. At the DOJ, we're proud to provide grants to fund apps work at the local level, and I encourage law enforcement agencies to apply. We put out $5 million already. We have another $5 million tranche to come in the coming year. So this report that you have, there's a lot in here, but there's a lot in here because there's a lot to be proud of. I'm proud of our teams, our work, our successes, and our agents. They're leading incredible, heroic efforts. So a big thank you to them again. And DOJ is going to continue to work with the legislature to support our agents and make this strong program even stronger. For example, it would make our communities safer to fund the enforcement of the retrieval of firearms at the time of prohibition by local law enforcement and courts, rather than DOJ agents knocking on doors much later. So you can imagine someone who's in court who is prohibited at that moment in time from owning a firearm. The sooner and as immediately after that as possible that individual can have the firearm removed from their possession, the safer all of our communities will be. So we're working on efforts to help make that a reality. We've come a long way, but there's also still room for improved salaries and benefits for recruitment and retention of sworn staff. And as we continue the Firearms Information Technology Systems Modernization Project to replace and modernize our data systems, which I've described before as a little bit clunky, we'll need additional funding and support to ultimately make this happen. Investments like these aren't just investments in apps. They are investments in our communities, in public safety, and they are essential for getting more illegal firearms off our streets. Since APPS was first established in 2006, again, that first in the nation program, the DOJ has seized more than 20,000 firearms. Today, thanks to the hard work of this team, we can proudly say we've added nearly 1,500 more firearms to that list, and we're going to keep at it. You know, there's more to do, more communities and neighborhoods to make safe, more guns to remove from those who are prohibited from having them, because we know that ending gun violence, keeping our kids safe, is at the top of our list. Public safety is job number one here for the California Department of Justice. So thank you for your time and attention, and with that, I am happy to take any questions.